Doctor has a problem. No, it's not his cosmetics. No, it's not his items. And no, it's not him being British. Ugh. It's his fans. Or the lack of them. I ran a poll on my channel a while ago and I got some surprising results. If you voted or not, you'll clearly see that over 50% of the voters don't prefer to play him, so people aren't going out of their way to play him. Why is that? Doctor can be a very stressful class. You have to manage a team of, at most, 11 other players, and then you have to equally spread heals among those 11 individuals. Then you need to decide who the best candidate is for the Uber you just built up, and when to Uber the chosen candidate. Or decide whether you should panic Uber to save your life. Playing Doctor is like multitasking incarnate, choosing between all sorts of factors in order to be the best Doctor you can be. That self-preservation is one of these factors. How do you possibly keep yourself alive to keep healing your team? For the most part, Doctor is the highest priority of classes like Agent, Marksman, and Flanker, meaning a lot of the time you'll not only be worrying about your teammates, but yourself as well. A dead Doctor is one you can't heal, and as many people have said, if you're not healing anyone, you're playing Doctor wrong, and that puts a lot of pressure on you. Pressure, or stress, is never a good feeling, especially in fast-paced games like TC2, which needs at least some sort of team coordination. To a new player, it's just too much. You're not even told how to play the class other than the fact that he heals people. Take a look at this. There's nothing else here other than that you heal your team. Not only do newer players not know much about the game in general due to, being new, but playing one of the most stressful classes in the game isn't helping that fact. Newer Doctors oftentimes can't melee duel very well, reducing their survivability because of the previously mentioned enemies. They also don't know when to, or how to Uber, mainly Ubering as soon as they get it, wasting it because there's no enemies around, or worse, never using it at all.
Why was he begging for mercy?
Pop Uber, little man! Do it, little man! No! Little man! Little man! All these mess-ups can often leave the blame of a loss entirely on them. Many good players don't like losing and are always looking for someone to blame on the loss. The easiest one to piggyback on? Walter 190515, whose phone is overheating from all the explosions. So if newer players get discouraged from playing him, what about the older ones? The ones with days upon days of playtime? When I see Doctors, and mostly good ones at that, they're typically higher levels, ranging from 100 to over 300. But even then, some of them aren't even playing him because they want to, either due to their main being taken or their team begging for one. So many people think Doctor is a must pick to win. Is he? Personally, I don't think Doctor is needed to win every single match, but even if he's bad, it's absolutely appreciated. Health is a big factor in games like TC2. It's the backbone of your gameplay. Take Flanker for example. Jumpy and movement based, but frail with 125 health. Now, what if he had nearly 200? Or take the damage that Trooper and Annihilator can output and the possibility of hurting themselves with splash damage. It's partially bypassed with Overheal. Overheal is one of the strongest things that a Doctor has right behind his Uber. It gives people encouragement. It gives people the strength to go in and actually fight. That's why dispensers are a good example of health. They can heal multiple people and at a relatively good rate, but the trade-off is that they're stationary. Doctor is not only a personal health supply, but he can move with his heal target. So yeah, he's strong. But then how does it feel to go against him if that's the case? Think about this. You're pushing Badwater last, and you've killed everyone and the cart is right at the edge, but nope. You forgot to kill the Crit's Doctor and his Trooper boyfriend just respawned and they wiped your whole team with 8 seconds of triple damage. To the Doctor, he's elated. And to you want to rage quit and play Dandy's World. A good enemy Doctor can be insanely powerful, or any enemy Doctor really. If you don't have one and the other team does, they already have an advantage over you before the round even begins. From a wide variety of his mediguns, if you can call 5 choices wide, their Ubers can make for very different encounters when fighting or using him. The way you gain this Uber is obviously through healing and living long enough, but during setup times on payload and attack defense maps, your Uber per second is insanely fast. Let's go back to our Badwater match. The attacking team has a Doctor building Uber during setup time, and you don't have a Doctor at all. Now you're already at that disadvantage because not only do you have no health to fall back to, but you're clueless to what medigun the enemy is using until you see through the gates or seeing what Uber he uses. The stock medigun, for example, gives the Doctor and his heal target full invincibility for 8 seconds. I don't think I need to explain why full damage invulnerability is crazy powerful. It can open up pushes, stop enemy pushes, destroy mechanic nests, and even more. It feels rewarding when you finally build up that Uber or jump right out of the gate with it because, like I said earlier, Doctor gives people encouragement to fight. When you're fully damage resistant, you can't help but go in and cause as much carnage as you can. And the fact that Uber can be so devastating is that it punishes the enemy team for not focusing the opposing Doctor. Even if they do, Doctor has items that either assist him in living or buffs his Uber in some way. His stock melee is a great example of how much survivability he has. If he's able to kill an enemy with either the saw or not, they'll drop a small health pack, which may not seem like much, but Doctor gets 50% more health from all health packs if he's using the stock melee, making health packs more of a lifesaver. Now let's just assume you didn't die to the Doctor. Now he's set back however much Uber he had when you killed him and has to build it all the way back up. And in some cases, the Doctor even whines in chat, often giving Doctor this negative stigma that everyone has to protect him or it's always their fault. Just imagine this, you're fighting like normal trying to cap a point and your Doctor gets sniped. Whose fault is it that he died? That's right, it's your fault. You obviously should have tanked the bullet for him even though he was out of position. I hope you get what I'm hitting at. Dying isn't fun in video games. While yes, it's inevitable, it is still very annoying. And when you're mad at dying, you oftentimes want to blame something. Salty Doctor players tend to whine about their team needing to protect them, which is correct in some way, but Doctor is a high value target, need I remind you of our friends here. Doctor isn't some little baby that needs constant watching though. If you die as a Doctor, it's mostly on you. Whether you couldn't fight back well enough or couldn't escape somewhere safe. This does go both ways though. Constantly, time and time again, I see people crying about how Doctors need to spread their heals better, which is another good point, but when you rush headfirst into an enemy team, he can't exactly follow you. This can bring up a sort of risk and reward situation for many players. Doctor melees can also give conflicting feelings on whether you should be aggressive or not. The Super Saw, for example, gives you 20% of your Uber every time you hit an enemy, which is an insane assistance if you can pull off getting a hit. Then on the other hand, the Dentist Delight has a special tooth mechanic. For every tooth you gain, it gives you an extra second of your Uber time, all the way up to 5 seconds if you're lucky enough. Now that I just told you these upsides, you're probably going to run in at the enemy and think you'll get free Uber, but you do not need to rush in, and you should never do so unless you're confident enough that you'll kill the enemy, or you have a teammate to back you up. If you really want to decide on whether fighting someone or not, always look at them and try to see their health. If their health is low enough, go in and take a couple swings. If not, I would suggest backing away. Doctor relies a lot on outside sources like his own team and the enemies, always making his gameplay a gamble. Not only do you need to think about your own team and their preservation, but you also need to balance your own, which is why he's so complicated. This is one of the main reasons Doctors are so scarce, bringing back that stress factor. So what's the other one? Boredom. Doctor is just a very boring class at base value. His gameplay is mostly waiting in the backlines, healing his team, and watching out for any people trying to flank him. Even when you do get to Uber, half the time you have to hope that it'll actually open anything up. Whether it does or not, you have to build it up all over again. Even though he has a bunch of different combos with his items, his gameplay is very repetitive, slow, and honestly just not very engaging. Most people don't want to sit in the backlines and do nothing until Uber is ready. They want to go in and be the ones getting Ubered instead of being the ones Ubering. You can oftentimes switch it up using things like the Rejuvenator to jump with troopers and sneak attack some random enemy from the sky, or you can use a Blood Doctor, Ubering a Lemon Blade Marksman and giving him free crits. But both of those make you more vulnerable, looping back to my point about dying. Speaking of the Blood Doctor, Doctor as a whole can be just plainly busted and one-sided in a way. Giving a teammate 10 seconds of 1.35 damage with no fall off is insanely good. On top of that, you gain Uber insanely fast when a teammate is injured. And what is your teammate doing? Running in and taking damage that you're getting Uber off of for another mini crit charge. Or, on an even more drastic scale, the Vaccinator. If you know me, I hate the Vaccinator. Not only does it give a passive 10% damage resistance of any chosen damage type, but it removes all crit damage and ramps up to 67% during an Uber charge. And keep in mind, it functions like the Blood Doctor, so you gain charge even while using the Uber. So you can spam all 4 charges for 10 seconds of resistance for anything you want, except for melees. That's more time than stock Uber without any teeth from the Dentist Delight. And you can see how that can just be unfair to any marksman, or honestly anything with a mini crit or crit gimmick. Now you could say,
Dear Noskai, the main healer of typical colors 2 has no melee resistance, therefore meaning that they would take no less damage from melee attacks. Therefore, it would be much more simpler to just melee attack the Doctor.
While you are correct, just tell me, why would you want to rush headfirst at a Doctor and his heal target? Because let me tell you, that's not a good idea. On the complete opposite end of the scale, Doctor has some weapons that are very niche use cases and overall just aren't very viable. The Dairy Dowser is a great example of this. You trade long-range healing and damage output for shitty lifesteal that barely helps. And on top of that, you can't even extinguish yourself with it like regular Mad Milk does. There's also the fact that your teammate would be better off healed from your medigun or stock crossbow. Your heals cuts afterburn duration in half, making the Dowser even more useless. Like, seriously, why would you trade off long-range healing that can potentially save teammates from bleed, fall damage, or a simple me shot that could be life-ending? Now, there is another primary for Doctor that I haven't really brought up, and that's for good reason, but I'm going to talk about a very small number of players. The Battle Doctors. Very similar to battle mechanics, Battle Doctor is when you ignore traditional class roles and just go in and get kills like any other class. And a Battle Doctor's favorite item is a syringe SMG. Now I will agree Battle Doctor can be fun at times, especially when you have a friend to back you up, but then again you're not healing your team, bringing back that if you're not healing you're playing Doctor wrong point. This can tick a lot of people off because many Battle Doctors just outright don't heal anyone at all, just focusing on kills, which can ruin a game for his teammates. People aren't going to magically start playing Doctor because of this video, and new players that are obviously new and don't know how to play him are going to get discouraged once people start complaining. To the Doctors that constantly play and help their team, thank you, because I don't think people realize how much Doctor goes through just each simple match. And that is the true dilemma. If you're seeing this right now, that means you've watched and probably enjoyed the video. A sub is always appreciated, but you never have to in order to enjoy my content. I want to give a big thank you to my friends for the help on the script and editing, but I also want to thank you guys for giving me motivation, for helping me continue to push out videos that not only I can enjoy, but that you enjoy as well. I love you guys, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.